160,000 miles. That's on average how often you'll use your car insurance. But what if you could get help with more often? Maybe save a couple of bucks on clothes or at restaurants. What if you could even get rescued roadside when a tire goes flat or your battery dies? You can, when you're a member and your auto insurance is AAA. Insurance that's not just insurance. Talk to a AAA insurance agent or visit AAA.com/insurance to learn more about how AAA works at every mile.
Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Welcome, my friends, to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, performance enhancement expert, and author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 63 countries, such as the U.S., Costa Rica, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, and Norway, UK. So I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that has changed our lives and how we use this to help transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Join our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio Community. I ask that you please subscribe, rate, and review the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, Player FM, and the Google Play Music app, or wherever you are comfortable listening to podcasts. On the show are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, and other amazing content creators who are doing amazing things in the world. And my guest today does exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests on my show, this is a live show, so call us up at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. So please help me welcome to Life Transformation Radio, Natalie Janji. What is going on today, Natalie?
Hey, Sean. Not much. I mean, today's just a really good day. Just got off a really awesome call, which you were on as well. And, you know, really grateful to be on this radio show with you. And, you know, right after this, I have, it's really cool. I'm going to go pick up my brother from the airport. So, you know, just all good things.
I love it. So for the listeners that don't know, but Natalie does, I am currently broadcasting from my mother's town, if you want to call it that, Yale, Michigan, of like 5,000 people. And if the internet or the show is cutting in and out, because this town does not believe in regular internet. Just saying.
Oh, man.
Oh, dear God. But nonetheless, we're working through it. We're going to make it happen. And, you know, I literally had an epiphany today, okay? And I was literally sitting there, I'm like, God, my mom's internet is so slow. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go to the library, I'll do this, walk a half a mile, get here. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, it's 2018. Like, how do we not have great internet?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not even speaking from like a millennial or like any, like, you know, like no generation stuff, but literally. Today's
literally. Maybe
literally,
some towns just stayed in the 90s, you know? Like they're like we don't want it to be 2018. We still want it to be 1994.
But there's still things that I see that make me laugh. Like when I say, "Hey, yes, send me an email." John@hotmail.com. Like, Hotmail?
Hotmail.
Hotmail? I'll see like an AOL email come through. I'm like, you're the last subscriber. You're like the only one still using AOL. That's amazing. AOL is shut down. And there's still an AOL email address flying around the interweb. This is amazing. I just think it's funny.
It's so funny. I mean, it's the same reason why I still keep my old BlackBerry, even though I don't use it.
BlackBerry?
Right? My BlackBerry, or like the Verizon chocolate phone, like the first touchscreen phone.
Yeah. Do you remember the Razor?
Yeah, of course. I had a pink one.
Oh, God. That was like the new age stuff, right? Like, I gotta have the Razor. Like, oh, yeah, man. Yeah, some of these phones are like, we think about it now, like they're super bad quality. Like, oh, man. Like the BlackBerry was like this super terrible phone, and people loved it, and they thought it was the new hotness. You know, then like T-Mobile Razor, the Motorola Razor, it was like, oh my gosh, I have to have this phone, but like nothing but problems.
I mean, we can just real quickly, like I've received the first ever iPod when it used to be a flash drive.
Whoa.
Like, yeah, like you'd stick the hard drive in your computer to download your music. And then you'd literally walk around with this thing that hung around your neck. Like, insane.
I remember that.
You have to keep those things. Like, you have to show, like, the future generation, like, this used to exist. Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
I put that right next to my my VHS tape and my Bon Jovi cassette tapes.
Amazing. Oh, my God.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm super excited to get on the show. To be on the show with you. You're rocking it. You're crushing it. I love what you're doing, and I want you to announce the big time thing that's going to happen later this year, or I guess next year, later this year. But anyway, super pumped that you have these cool things going on. But let's get to it. The title of this show is The Miracle Morning for College Students with Natalie Janji. Natalie is the author of The Miracle Morning for College Students, based on the international best-selling book The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Natalie is a graduate of Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, California, where she received her bachelor's degree in chemistry. Her story, however, starts before she became an author and college graduate. In her first year at LMU, she struggled identifying what she wanted to pursue as a career. On a deeper level, she struggled understanding her life's purpose. She always knew that she wanted to help people, but she had trouble figuring out the avenue by which she was going to help others. At the lowest point in her life, she began to imagine what she wanted her life to look like. She imagined a life of academic success, where she could feel hopeful about her future. She didn't want to feel so depressed and anxious. Her mission in life now is to help people dream bigger and work smarter, to deliberately design and live the life of their dreams. Natalie is now an Amazon best-selling author, a student coach, and a professional speaker. She spends her time connecting with students and educators all across the globe to spread the message of her life-changing book. She facilitates a growing group of students in the Miracle Morning for College Students Facebook community, where students share their growth and progress in the most engaging and supportive environment on the internet. This community has risen to nearly 500 people, 12 different countries, and expects to thousands of students from more countries in the future. If you want to connect with Natalie, you can go to Natalie Janji, it's Janji, NatalieJanji.com. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all up there in the show notes. Check it out. Connect. If you are a college student listening to this podcast, connect with Natalie. If you have a friend or family member who is a college student, connect with Natalie. So, after reading that, I got to ask you, why? Why write this book? Why be a speaker? Like, what is your big why for what you do?
Well, the reason why I wanted to write this book, or even just speak about it and share that message, is because I wanted my experiences to have meaning. When I was going through a really tough time in college, I really felt alone. I felt like I was the only person going through anxiety, going through depression. I was the only person failing classes, like while getting my chem degree. I really felt alone. I felt like I was the only person suffering. And, during my own transformation, what I found out is that I actually wasn't alone. It's just that no one else was speaking up and everyone was hiding, their suffering. And so when I started making changes in my life, like there was one thing, I used to be a resident advisor in college, and the moment I quit, that following week, 2 more people quit after I did because they were also suffering. They were just afraid to quit. And so that's just one of the reasons why I wanted to write a book and why I want to speak, because I think it's important that we all share our stories and that we share our message so that people don't feel alone and that they know that someone else has gone through what I am going through and they've gotten out of it. So that's why it's really important for me to promote my message all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. So take us back. What was that transformational moment? Was there a moment in time that happened and then it set you on the path to what you're doing today? Talk us through that. What does that transformational moment look like?
Yeah, I think there are 2 moments that I think uniquely have brought me to this moment. Well, the first one was when I was a junior in high school. I went to an all-girl high school. It was an all-female private Catholic high school, and we had these things where, like, I think it was on Thursdays, the school would bring in a speaker outside of the school to come and talk to us, to the entire student body of 400 girls total. And
wow.
Yeah, it was really small. And so, of course, I was a junior, and that time I'm pretty sure I was depressed. Like, I wasn't like clinically diagnosed, but like by all symptoms, you would call it depression. And I had torn a ligament in my knee during that time, and it totally wiped me out from playing basketball or continuing ballet, 2 things that I really loved. And so I was really struggling. And, I think, I don't know what it was, but okay, so the speaker that came in that one Thursday before final exams of my junior year was Hal Elrod. And that was in the year of 2011. And, no one knew who Hal was back then. He's now pretty well known. Hal was at our school, and he just started talking about his first book, which was Taking Life Head On, which was the story of how he, survived that drunk driving accident, and he was dead for 6 minutes, and, he came back to life, and he started walking again against all medical knowledge, and I don't know what it was, but Hal speaking, it really just changed my perspective. I think out of the 400 girls in that gymnasium, I was the only person who left that room, and I said, there really is a way to live a better quality life. Like, I was a big pessimist back then, and and he was just saying there's no such thing as realist. Like, you can be an optimist. And I was like, really? And he just kept saying these beliefs over and over again that were challenging me. And, had Hal not chosen to come and speak at our high school, I certainly wouldn't be where I am today. And, wow. It really, and so he planted the seed in 2011, and he hadn't even published The Miracle Morning yet. He published The Miracle Morning a year and a half after he spoke in my high school. And so I was already in college by then. I had started my first semester of college when he published The Miracle Morning. And, I was following his progress, and I saw the books, and I saw the community. But when I really started struggling, and it was like my sophomore, junior year of college, I was like rock bottom, and the only person I could think of was Hal. I was like, I remember the energy with which he walked into that room, and I want to feel the way he felt when he was speaking to us. And that in itself got me to buy the Miracle Morning during college. And, it took me a few times to like really trust it just because I was in such a dark place. But, I read it over and over and over again. And then I just jumped in with 2 feet. I was like, this is it. Like, I'm going to do this 100% and I'm going to change my life. But that wasn't necessarily, like, that was a big moment, but that's not the second moment. The second moment, the second transformational moment was during my senior year. It was about 3 months before I was graduating college in 2016. And I had a roommate my senior year. Her name was Taylor. I mean, by all sense of the word, she's like an Albert Einstein. She is brilliant.
Wow.
And she's also kind and just one of the most amazing people I've ever met. And I'm so lucky to have had her for a roommate for a year. And I don't think she's ever gotten an A-. Like, she works really hard. She deserves every bit of success. And she and I pretty much studied the same subject. She was a biochemistry major and I was a chemistry major. And she just crushed it all the time. And, colleges have a way of like, there's always that weird competition thing. And like, you want to make sure you're doing the best in your class. But for me, there was a very specific moment in my senior year where I looked at Taylor and I said, you know what, Tay? One day I'm going to find something I love the way you love studying biochemistry. And that moment, it just unleashed this freedom in me to be myself and not have to compete with anyone that wasn't me. It just gave me freedom to be who I was instead of forcing myself to be something I wasn't. Like, I wasn't meant to be a chemistry whiz, but I spent 4 years forcing myself to do well. But it obviously wasn't working. And so from that moment, I started to go on a search to find something that I was made to do, that like I biologically, like in my DNA or through my experiences was made to do. And I will never, ever forget that moment because, a lot of people just shy away from being who they are. But the moment you give yourself freedom to shine is like the most beautiful moment in the world.
Absolutely. So I think a lot of people have you seen that movie with the kid who had a bunch of facial surgeries? Wonder, I think, is the movie.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, have you seen that? And he was like, why are you trying to hide when you were born to stand out or whatever? Yeah. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And then, like, towards the end of the movie, they're talking about all the stuff that he's ever done, and he's a great kid, and this, that, and the other. And, they're like, what would you tell someone? And he's like, I think everyone deserves a standing ovation. And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, as a speaker, you're like, yes. Oh, my God. Like, it just totally resonated with me because, like, as a speaker on stage, we want to get those standing ovations, right? Like, I mean, we do such an amazing job. And then, everybody, like, barely claps. You're like, I thought that was great. I thought that was an amazing talk. And then when you least expect it, you think you give a pretty good one. And then all of a sudden, everybody stands up and everyone's like, wow.
Wow.
So, right. So we kind of do want those standing ovations, but it's so true that why are you trying to hide when you were born to stand out?
Right.
That's what transformation is all about. That's what transformation is all about.
Right. Yeah, those two moments literally changed my life. Like, had Hal not spoken in my high school, I wouldn't have remembered him when I was really going through a lot of crap in college. And, had I not given myself the freedom to just be myself, I definitely would have never written a book like that, and let alone with Hal, it just wouldn't have happened. So those two moments really are like the shining moments in my life.
Oh yeah, I think that everything that we're going through in those moments is preparing us for where we're going to. We're always growing. We're always, We're always learning. So I firmly believe that everything that we experience is for our good, unless it's something that we directly caused. which could be still for our good because we learn from our mistakes and not to do that again. But anything that we experience in life that is outside of our control is strengthening us.
Yeah.
I really firmly believe that.
Absolutely. I completely agree as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we have your why, we have your transformational moments, and it's amazing because I know Hal, he's an amazing guy. I love the community that we're all in, and and there's a lot of lives that have been changed inside of each of the communities, inside of the Miracle Morning for Parents and Families, the Miracle Morning for College Students, the Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs, the Miracle Morning community itself, which is 25,000 and so odd strong. So how are you elevating lives around you for college students?
Well, there are two ways I'm doing that, I would say, like specifically. I think, one, it's important for me to, continuously grow my Facebook group of students who have read my book. And the way I'm elevating them is, just reminding them of the principles that I wrote about in the book. And some of the principles that I wrote about is not only just practicing a morning routine, but how to grow self-awareness. Because when it comes to college, I think because students are so many years into the education system, sometimes students can forget to, what makes them an individual. It can be really easy to want to answer all the questions that your professor asks you because it's important for your future, but it's really important to really know who you are. And, I elevate them by reminding them to, number one, practice a morning routine so that they give themselves that space to learn more about who they are, and also the gift of reflection. If something happens, I want them to be able to, journal about it or talk to someone and see how that experience gives them another piece of the puzzle about who they are. Because at the end of college, and every day in life, in college purposes, if there are hundreds of thousands of people graduating college each year, and they're all kind of going after the same jobs, how are you going to stand out? And yeah, sure, you can do the whole, I get great grades and I did all these extracurricular activities. But if you don't know yourself, then you're not going to be able to make that come across to your potential future employer. That is if you, want to get a job instead of do that entrepreneurship route. But the most competitive edge is knowing who you are, especially when it comes to college students. If you know your strengths and you know your deep passion and you know that you can fiercely contribute to a company or to a cause, then you're going to win. But if you are if you're just going out and just being very broad about your prospects and if you don't know what tool you are, then you can't help anything grow. And so the way I elevate students is that I always direct them to the question, how are you growing your self-awareness today? Now, a second layer to how I elevate the lives of students is, in being an example. I make sure I walk with purpose and that I am a positive influence because, whether people are in my community or not, someone's always watching. I'm not talking Big Brother status, but just right? But there are people who actually are paying attention. And just randomly, I get messages sometimes and say thank you for, indirectly helping me do better in college. And that's crazy for me to think that just by my presence, I can help someone, stay an hour longer in the library, or go after that opportunity that they were afraid to go after. So there is that direct influence within the community, but there is also that indirect influence where like I am just being myself and sharing my struggles, because it doesn't, like, just because you write a book doesn't mean you don't struggle. You know, the struggles are still there. But I think being authentic about it and being resilient about it, it really shows a deep sense of character and a possibility for others and how they can live their lives as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, there's so many times that we hear, and it never gets old for me. You know, is they're like, hey, I saw that podcast episode, or hey, I saw you on Facebook Live, or hey, I saw your post, or, you know, you might walk by somebody and go, hey, you did that one thing, like, man, I love it. And you're like, really, you saw that? Like, oh, thanks, man. You know, like you'll get comments, you know, about a post or a live that you did, or a video that you did, or a book, or you're like, oh, thanks. You know, like, it just, like, when I first wrote my book, I was like, someone read it? Like, cool.
No.
I knew a lot of people pre-ordered. A lot of people bought them, but I was like, they read it. That's awesome. So, yeah, I definitely believe that you never know who's watching, and you never know who you will meet that day. That maybe they were the one who was praying for you to come into their life. They just the night before was praying and hoping for someone to come and show them the way, and then you happen to buy them a coffee, or in line, or you met them at a park or a college or whatever. You somehow got connected with them. Yeah. Now they're going to go home and say, thank you, God, you're the answer to my prayer. And I just think that's so incredibly important with today's social media and email and everything. Like, you can be an influencer fairly quickly and not even realize it. People look up to you, and you just may not even realize it.
Yeah. I think there is an interesting, I love getting those kinds of messages, but I think there are some entrepreneurs who struggle with, like, well, if I'm not getting any feedback, like, is this working? Like, is anything I'm doing, like, actually helping? You know, like the quiet pauses between, like, you consistently doing something and not getting any feedback, you know? And it's not like I was listening to a podcast the other day with Kobe Bryant talking about how he misses the instant feedback from the crowd. And now that he's, like, going off on his own ventures, like, he's not getting any feedback. And so he's, like, constantly asking for feedback on the new projects he's working on. But I think this just brings up the point that, like, you have to every day connect to the why, for why, like, why you put those things you're going to do on that list. Yeah. And do them anyway, and expect nothing in return. You know, giving for the mere sake of giving. Right. I think that's, like, super important. Super important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. So you talked about Hal. Who else has been a big influencer in your life?
Man. I mean, well, I think Hal has, like, a place in my life just because he was, like, the first person, like a personal development guru in a way, to show up in my life. Like, and so early on, I think I was 16, you know, and wow. I think, and so if there had to be a second person, I think it would be someone you and I both love, Mr. John Roman.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know, what's great about John, I mean, there's not much about, like, what isn't great, because, like, that's just the kind of person he is. Right. But something that always, that like, really, it's so wonderful about him is that, like, you just know he's, like, all heart. Like, he wears his heart on the sleeve every day, and you can just tell by the way he interacts with people, the way he listens to others, and the way he cares is unmatched. And I mean, of course, creating the Front Row Foundation and all that he's doing for people of any age who are suffering with a life-threatening illness, you know, and their families. It's just, he is all heart. And, you know, it's important for people like John to be out there because, you know, it really brings you back to your center when you see someone like John speak. Or, you know, I'm just so grateful to know him, you know, and just like those. You and I were on a call with him before this. Like how lucky are we, you know?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just like salt of the earth, and you know, you only always want the best for him because anything he does is really gonna make the world move towards a better place. So that's
100%.
definitely, like 100 million, thousand, quadrillion %.
Totally 100%. You know, I met John Vroman at a One Life Fully Lived event in May or June, something like that, of 2016. I was just really starting my speaking career. You know, I'd spoken a bunch before that, but I mean, it was really starting to take hold. It was really starting to, big stages were coming, and you know, it wasn't like 20, 30 people anymore. You know, it was in the hundreds. It was, you know what I mean? So I met him, and he just completely wowed the stage, the crowd, the organ. I mean, it was just like, man, what a powerful talk. You know, and I was like, that's who I need to hook up with. That is who I need in my life. So I need a John Vroman in my life. You know, and so you know, for the next couple of months, you know, I did. I mean, I started learning what he was doing, you know, where he was going, who he was hanging out with, you know. Yeah, look at all these cool people. Like, there's so many, like, cool people, you know. And I was like, I want that to be my tribe. Like, look how many cool people there are. So you have Front Row, and you got One Life, and you got, you know, some other groups that are all involved in thing, and it's like, this is the people that I need to be hanging around, you know.
Yep.
They get me. They understand me.
It's like, I found my tribe.
Right?
Seriously.
Like, yeah. So I think it's very important that we talk about the influencers, right? Because it just goes to show that, you know, you never know who's listening and say, oh, I don't know who they are. Who is that? And then all of a sudden they find their tribe. Because everybody knows about the Gary V's and the Tony Robbins and, you know, the big names. But, you know, I like to celebrate the unsung heroes too.
Yes. Yes. He is.
Right.
It's amazing. You know, when you said, like, I need a John Vroman in my life, like, right back to the point. How lucky are we to have the John Vroman in our life? Like,
right.
They're like, I need a John Vroman type in my life. Oh, wait, let me just have John Vroman as a friend, mentor, coach, everything. Yeah, like, so, yeah, grateful for his heart, grateful for his leadership.
Yep. Definitely.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Right. So in your own right, you've become an influencer too, to college students, to your peers. What was it like going through the editing process and authoring this book with someone that you looked up to so many years before? Think about, what was it like?
Yeah, well, it was a beautiful story. So it was just like a few months before I graduated, and I was talking to myself and saying, like, okay, Nat, like, if you could do anything on a random September day between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., what would you want to do? And I said, I'd like to write a book to help students. And it's like, okay, like, keep going, like, journal on that. And as I was journaling, I realized, like, well, I'd have to write a book with Hal because I used Miracle Morning to help me with college and life. And so then I had that crazy idea, right? Like, oh, I should reach out to Hal and suggest that there should be a college student version of the Miracle Morning and that I should write it, you know? And that's two separate points because that book should have existed whether I was chosen to co-author it or not. You know, like, students need help. I wanted to put that idea out there. If I wasn't the person for it, like, I wouldn't take it personally, but, like, I had some insight about how I made a Miracle Morning lifestyle work as a student that has different schedules every day, week, month, semester. Like, the changes are unreal. Like, your sleeping time is always off. Like, I made it work. And so I knew I had something to contribute. And so, whatever, like, I mean, he has this equation of having unwavering faith and extraordinary effort. I literally burned all other bridges. Like, by graduation day, that's the only thing I wanted to do after college. And so I worked really hard in order to make this happen. And I got no's many times before I got the yes. And, when I got the yes, we started working on it, and I had like 5 months to, finish the book and, make sure that every single sentence in the book was geared to help a student, so it was honestly, it was such an interesting experience to go from someone who studied chemistry to writing a book. I mean, something that helped me was the fact that I had been journaling for, like, I think since I was like 7. So my ability to translate my thoughts into words was I did okay, because like that is straight up nonfiction writing. So, had I not journaled for so long in my life, I probably would have needed like 7 more rounds of editing. But, I had the multiple rounds of editing and we got it out. But I mean, I literally don't remember Christmas that year, because I remember like celebrating it, but like I was pretty much working around the clock to get this book out. And then it was so crazy because, like, I mean, unfortunately, in November of the year that I was working on the book, Hal got diagnosed with cancer. So, right. And it was just like this really weird, surreal moment for me, because I was like, how can the person I look up to, like, be diagnosed with cancer while I'm writing a book with him? It just felt weird. And, like, I did everything I could to make this book, like, amazing. And, my co-author, Honore, and I, like, we pretty much worked together, and we did everything we could to just let Hal focus on his recovery so that he wouldn't have to worry about anything with the book writing process. And thank God he's in remission now. And, but like, I mean, there's no day that goes by that I don't think of how grateful I am for the opportunity. And like, had I not reached out to Hal, like, maybe I wouldn't have even had a book. Like, he got diagnosed while we were in the middle of writing the book together. So that was a different, it was an experience that not many people go through. Right. But I mean, yeah. So, of course, like, in the equation of like someone getting diagnosed with cancer, like, I am not the most important person. You have a wife, kids, family, loved ones, and then you have a co-author. But like, I mean, for me, it was significant because like he really changed my life, and like I'm working on this book with him, and he gets diagnosed with cancer. Like, it was just a little crazy for me. But yeah, I mean, thank God he's doing great, and right. We not only have one book together, we have 3 books together now. And wow. Yeah, so we have our Miracle Morning for College Students book, and then I immediately began designing a planner so that students can implement a morning routine in their life, because there are no planners in the world that, support a morning routine. So I developed that planner, and then so that was a college student planner in the Miracle Morning, and then we changed it up a little bit and made official the official planner of the Miracle Morning. So that was our 3rd book. So crazy, right? Like, I messaged Hal for 1 book, but I got 3 books in that year. So, you just don't know what happens when you take a bold action and you really follow through and work really hard to make things happen.
Right. No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. There's so many times that I've reached out, in hope, like, oh man, I really want this, and it happened.
Yeah.
Right? It happens. So, so you said that there's no planner for college students, for morning routines, whatever. So what do you think, what were the resources before there were resources? What were college students doing?
Well, there's a lot of, there's a lot of generic, like if we're talking like planner wise, like there are lots of great planners out there. However, for a student who wants to practice a morning routine, and especially for students who are always carrying around a planner with them from class to class, because they're putting in deadlines and homework assignments, and they're constantly writing in their planner, like they didn't have that planner that reminded them to do a morning routine every day. And so what I did was I created a weekly that has also like a monthly section for every month, but like at the very top of the page you had in one line the acronym SAVERS, right? And so from the night before, they can write down their plan for that morning, and also for each of the practices of the savers. And at the very bottom of the page, I put in a section for a nighttime routine, which is essential for a successful morning routine, right? Like, and it doesn't matter. Like it's like a simple check off, right? Like I got my glass of water, I read my bedtime affirmations, I have my bags ready to go, I have my Miracle Morning supply set up. But it's just that little thing, the fact that it's present within their planner, it reinforces like the implementation of a morning routine in their lives, which is like, I mean, between all the scary stats of how mental health rates of like anxiety, depression, bipolar disease are increasing with students, like I'm going to do everything in my power to make it as easy as possible for them to implement a morning routine. And like that's really the secret. Like it's not about sharing knowledge, it's about making it easier for people to implement.
Right.
Like that's the key.
Yeah. Absolutely 100% agree. 100% agree. Because a lot of times they're not going to do it, they'll fall off, they won't stay with it, so
yeah.
If you made it as easy as possible, and for them to form a new habit, then I believe you've got a winning formula. Yep.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, I said, so if you make it as easy as possible for them, and you allow them to form a new habit, they'll be much more successful.
That's right. And my heart goes out to students because after World War II and tuition rates going up and just the way the world, because of the globalization of the world, somehow there's this weird mismatch between the things that students are excelling in school versus what they should be excelling in order to have success after college. There is a mismatch that some colleges are addressing and some aren't. And, and I recognize that, so I just want to make this as easy as possible for them. Because, I know firsthand that they suffer enough. Between making sure that they're being competitive with their grades or, the love that they may or may not have for themselves and, what they might look like. And, there's just a lot that happens within the mind of a college student. So, yeah, and this goes out to, any entrepreneur. You have to really care, right? You have to care. And, from that caring, you can truly create a solution and sit with them, be in solidarity with them. I feel you, I've been there. Let's do something with this. Let's solve this problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So where can they get these resources? Where can they get the Miracle Morning book, the planner, and what was the third thing?
Well, it's like 2 planners and the written book. So there's one planner. The first planner was like the planner for students. So all of this is available on Amazon if you just type in The Miracle Morning for College Students, or the second title, The Miracle Morning for College Students Companion Planner, or, the third one, which is The Miracle Morning Companion Planner. And all of these are a mouthful. I totally get it. But like whenever you type those into Amazon, all of them will pop up, and you can get it as a paperback, ebook, and the first book is on Audible. And I think, number one, like you get that Prime shipping, so that's good for the student and all the people who have like the Prime student account. And you can, connect with me in the group just to, see how your morning routine is doing, how I can help you. And I think something that's really important for students is to be an advocate for themselves. If they feel like there's something about their lives that they're not satisfied, it's just not sitting right with them, they need to be on a search to make things better for themselves. And my book, the Miracle Morning for College Students, is like the most advanced, up-to-date book for a student life. While I could have focused on like how to get straight A's, I understand that that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is to understand who you are and to improve yourself, because you're not just a student, you are a human being. And if you can improve as a human being, then literally, naturally, you will improve as a student, like as a natural byproduct, without even lifting a pen. And that's what happened to me. So those are some of the resources I have. And, I always put more resources in my Facebook community, so you should just join it.
Heck yeah, just join it. Just do it.
Just join it.
So as we start to wrap up, I want to dig into what you have coming up, where you are headed to next, new businesses, families, adventures, whatever, but specifically something that you are going to be doing soon. So tell the world where they'll be able to find you next.
Well, what's coming up next for me, besides the publishing of this awesome radio show, there's just... before we move on, there was something cool that happened to me yesterday. I think this was like a first. It was a cool milestone. A few weeks ago, a professor from a community college in Illinois reached out to me because he uses my book for his class. And he asked me to, if I would be interested in Skyping in and, having an interview with his students, right? And his students, and they can ask me any question they want about college life, my book. And they had to listen to a previous podcast episode of mine from the Achieve Your Goals podcast as their homework assignment, which, number one, I was like, oh my God, I've never been an assignment. So that was unreal. It was unreal. And so we had set it up, and we did that interview yesterday, and I had a freaking awesome time. I will never, ever forget how amazing students are, because, students, they always have their heart in the right place. They just don't know. They're just missing the resources and the guidance. And, I think students are inherently good people, because they do want to make sure that their lives are of significance and impact. And so I think it's, whether... if you are a listener and you're in a position to help students, make sure you are guiding them, because students are intelligent and they can learn anything and everything, but they just need the proper guidance for after college life. So you can give them my book, but just be a friend. So that's just one thing. And yeah, I just had a really awesome time on that interview. So that's what happened. That's what happened yesterday. And something that is coming up for me, something that I wasn't quite sharing socially, just I kept it really small, but I'm doing a TEDx talk soon, so that's really exciting. Woohoo! Yeah, and I get to be part of that cool club that Sean is in, and and a bunch of other people that I really look up to. So I'm really excited about that. I love my topic. I'm working on it, and guess what? T-minus 17 days. So like,
You're a rocket.
I hope so, and also I'm committed to rocket. So that's what's happening there, and having the opportunity to work on that talk has given me like a new sense of purpose in life, and so I'm really grateful to have been accepted for that, and grateful for the amount of support I've had around me in that process. It's something like that, like you just can't go at it alone. Like you need help, you need a community, and so grateful that I have that. Sean, you're definitely part of that support, and it's a real honor to be on the Grade 8 with you, and that's just like a really cool opportunity coming for me, and I'm excited because this opportunity is just helping me dream bigger, and I just have some cool things I'm thinking about after that TED Talk. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it. So well deserved, and definitely you will change lives. I know it. It's gonna be an amazing talk.
Thank you, Sean.
So as we start to close the show, we always do a shameless plug. You plug friends, quotes, websites, Facebook, products, movies, give a shout out, say whatever you want, as long as it's legal. This is your moment to shamelessly plug. Go.
Well, I think a lot of people should join my Instagram. Like, you guys should follow me on Instagram. It's just at Natalie Janji. My last name is spelled Janji. It's Jumanji minus the U and the M, FYI. I am really grateful for this stance I've taken in like not promoting myself on Instagram, but like being authentic on Instagram. It's just this place where I get to share the ups, the downs, and take people along the ride. And so I'm really it's like a pat on my back for like the level of authenticity that I share on Instagram. So I'm really happy about that. Join my Facebook community, the Miracle Morning for College Students. Be my friend on Facebook. Message me. Tell me that you love Sean's show and that you love this episode. Yeah, it's not like a shameless plug, but if there's a final message, I would say, like, don't be afraid to dream big. And, we're all made with specific gifts that were meant to shine. So, give yourself the permission to shine. It's for the betterment of the world. So, get over your anxiety, get over the false thoughts that are holding you back, and just move forward bravely with boldness and courage. Yeah, that's it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Feel good about the end of that, Sean.
Awesome way to end the show. Right?
Yeah, I feel good.
Awesome way to end the show.
Yeah.
So, I want to thank you for being on the show and for being an amazing guest who is elevating the world around her by taking her struggle and turning it into strength, by taking her trials and tribulations that she was facing, turning it into transformation. This is what Transformation Radio is all about, the stories behind the transformation. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Well, thank you for having me, especially in the city that you're in, of Yale. What is it, Yale, Michigan?
Yale, Michigan.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, thanks for having me there. And I'm really grateful this worked out internet connection-wise.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest who is impacting the world around her. If anything that Natalie has said today has resonated with you or touched your heart and mind in any way, please reach out to her at www.NatalieJanji, Janji, NatalieJanji.com. Go to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and connect with her. Mention this episode. And if you are a college student or know a college student who is currently struggling, take them by the hand and connect them with Natalie. She will change your life. Also, I ask that you subscribe, rate, and review Life Transformation Radio on all podcatchers such as iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, Player FM, and Play Music app. Join our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio community. As we close the show, I always say, live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. I call this living your brand. So until next episode, have a great night.
Skydiving. This is amazing.
Yeah, but you know what else is amazing? An iPhone 6S for just $49 at Metro.
Really?
Imagine streaming all the way down with that amazing camera. I'm switching.
That's smart.
You know what else is smart? Parachutes.
Switch to Metro and get an amazing iPhone 6S for only $49. Metro by T-Mobile. Phone offer requires port-in of number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Skydiving. This is amazing.
Yeah, but you know what else is amazing? An iPhone 6S for just $49 at Metro.
Really?
Imagine streaming all the way down with that amazing camera. I'm switching.
That's smart.
You know what else is smart? Parachutes.
Switch to Metro and get an amazing iPhone 6S for only $49. Metro by T-Mobile. Phone offer requires port-in of number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. See store for details and terms and conditions.